Welcome back to the Takeout. As part of its ongoing lawsuit against the Trump administration, Oregon's Attorney General today filed what legal beagles call a TRO. That's a temporary restraining order to block National Guard troops from being deployed to Portland. People gathered outside of the city's U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement building over the weekend were there to protest the White House's plan to send hundreds of National Guard troops right there. President Trump, by the way, is also expected to send National Guard forces to Tennessee and Illinois in the not-too-distant future. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield joins me now. Mr. Attorney General, welcome to the program. First of all, catch my audience up. What is the status of things right now in terms of whether or not the deployment has happened, is about to happen, about to arrive? Where are you?
You're kind of in this limbo stage right now. So we got notice Sunday morning that 200 National Guard troops were going to be federalized by the president and moved into the city of Portland. We immediately filed a lawsuit. And then this morning, we filed what they call a temporary restraining order to pause that action. As we sit here today, I'm not aware that the National Guard troops have actually posted. Frankly, we're very unclear about what their mission is at this point.
Would there be any mission in Portland, Mr. Attorney General, that you or your colleagues there would accept?
Listen, I think it doesn't matter what city you are in this country, doesn't matter what state you are in this country. As we sit in communities, we all believe in public safety and want to improve public safety. It should never be something that we're satisfied with. Bringing in the U.S. military into our cities is not how you do that. That's not leadership when it comes to improving public safety. That's more to score political points than it is anything else. If you were to talk to your local Portland police, what you would hear, and we actually have this in our drafted TRO motion that we filed, they are finding more activity around Portland nightlife than they are around the ICE facility in downtown Portland. So that's kind of the, I think, reality that we're experiencing right now. You know, if the president called our state, if they called any state and said, hey, what do you need in your state? I think all of us would welcome that conversation. That's just not a conversation I think that this administration is wanting to have.
Mr. Attorney General, as you know, this played out previously this year in Los Angeles, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals generally backed the administration, citing the Supremacy Clause and its ability to protect federal facilities for the federalization of National Guard forces there. Aren't you up against the same legal structure?
Yes and no. The facts here in Oregon, and actually, you know, the nation, if you look at the law, is that the president has to meet really strict standards to be able to federalize the National Guard. And think about it, right? Like, we're as Americans, we're not a third world country. We don't want the U.S. military wandering the streets in our cities. They are not there to do public safety. They aren't trained, frankly, to do that type of work. So we have laws in place that prevent them from doing that, prevent the president from doing that, I should say. And so you got to have an invasion. Well, certainly there's not an invasion in Oregon. You got to have a rebellion. We don't have one of those. And the third thing is the president can't be able to effectuate the laws of the United States. And that is not the case here in Oregon. We believe there's incredibly strong facts, and that's why we immediately moved for that temporary restraining order to pause it. Now, I do agree that, you know, presidents should actually have a lot of deference to be able to respond to emerging conditions in our communities. This is a case, though, where it is extreme. And the president is basing his facts on social media gossip rather than the facts on the ground. And that's the difference. That's what we're seeing right now.
Mr. Attorney General, I want you to address what the president describes as a war-ravaged, that's a direct quote from the president, city of Portland, under attack by Antifa, which he has declared a domestic terrorist organization. I want you to evaluate those two things. And as I look at the statistics my team put together, homicide down 50%, motor vehicle theft down, but arson and drug offenses way, way up. So there's a problem there, isn't there?
When you look at major harm or, like, what I would say significant crimes involving persons, they're down 51% in the Portland area since the beginning of the year. And you have a president, again, that I am surprised. How many years have we been at this? That nobody takes his phone away from him when he's tweeting these types of things. The type of stuff that he's tweeting are factually inaccurate. We have in our memorandums, the Portland police is talking about what's the reality on the ground. It's completely inconsistent with what the president says. Now, that's not unusual. Obviously, we've been dealing with this president for a very long time, and the things he tweets out is not always grounded in truth. And that's what the courts are for, right? We're going to get in front of a judge and talk about what the reality is in the ground. And when you do that, I feel real confident that we'll be able to sit there and show what the truth is.
Real quickly, any uncomfortableness that you possess, Mr. Attorney General, with this idea that Antifa is a domestic terror organization?
Well, I think they went down that path when they were in the first Trump administration. I think top lines, right? We do believe in American society that freedom of speech is important and you should be able to protest. Some of the biggest things that we've done in our society have been done through peaceful protests. However, if you're going to protest and you're going to break the law, there should be accountability. And that is going on in Oregon. We have the Portland Police, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, we have Oregon State Police, and we have the District Attorney in Multnomah County that will make arrests and prosecute when people are violating the law. You don't need the United States military to come into a city. Again, we're not a third world country. We shouldn't accept that as Americans. We should use the right resources to keep our communities safe.
Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield. Mr. Attorney General, I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.